Tihi, OS&D, DPF, OMG, WTF. This man with Tips for Truckers over here, and today this video is about common acronyms in trucking that you may or may not know. And I'm here to help you explain what all they mean. Okay, so I just named a couple in that introduction there, that little silly introduction. Anyway, so let's get right to it. Tihi. Now this is common if you're gonna unload your truck, or if you're working in a warehouse watching my videos. Appreciate that. This will really help you out. So Tihi, what does that mean? First of all, so when you're unloading your own truck, a lot of times on the bill it'll say you have to break down the pallet. So let's say the pallet is 10 boxes high, and each layer of boxes has 10 boxes in each of them. A lot of times what Walmart and a lot of other places do is they won't be able to fit that big pallet in their warehouse space, so they want you to break it down to half of that. Okay, or maybe they need it stacked in a different orientation on the pallet. They have different size pallets. That happens. They want to put their stuff off your cheap pallets and put it on their cheap pallets or whatever. So this is common. The high in Tihi means the amount of tiers high it is, obviously. That's pretty self-explanatory. But Ti is the orientation of how much is in each one of those layers. And so you use common sense on how to stack it, and you want to kind of stagger them like bricks. So let's say you have let's say boxes are longer than they are wide. So you have 2 boxes going this way, and then you'll have 4 boxes going this way. And then you want to alternate that, or make like a swirl or a brick pattern or whatever. Keep it a little bit more stable, you know, after you wrap it up with plastic wrap, it'll make it a lot more stable. Now, going on with LTL and warehouse and all that terminology, let's go with SLC. Now, a lot of people think Salt Lake City. Well, hey, when you're unloading your truck, then SLC, it means shipper, load, and count. Okay, now what does that mean? Now, when the shipper is unloading your bill, or unloading your truck, or loading your truck, and you're not, a lot of times, if you're supposed to be loading the truck, the customer thinks you're loading the truck, and the shipper absolutely refuses for you to load your truck, or refuses for you to be on the dock to count it. A lot of these companies, what they want you to do is they want you to count the amount of boxes on each pallet and everything. It's a mess, but you know, a lot of companies do that. And so what you do in this case, if they won't let you on the dock, is you write down on the bills SLC, or shipper, load, and count. And that way, and then you make the person who loads it sign it. Now, it may give you a hassle about this. I do a video on that later. But what that means is it relinquishes your responsibility of the amount of product that's on your trailer. And so when you deliver, you have a problem, it's really going to save you on the back end when you do this on the front end. Moving along, more LTL terminology. OS&D. Now, what does this mean? Overage, shortages, and damages. I'm not going to get into this too much, but it's self-explanatory. If you have too much, it's an overage. If the customer doesn't get enough, it's a shortage. And if there's broken boxes or damaged product, that's what damage means. Now, a lot of times, what you'll do is you sign on the bills, no OS&D, or something like that, if your dispatcher wants you to. I mean, that all depends, and that's you know, up to their discrimination and discretion, and yours. So moving on to some more truck-related, mechanical acronyms here. DPF, diesel particulate filter. Now, these new trucks, 07 and newer, all have a DPF, and you need a DPF in order to run in California. What is that? It's just a filter in your exhaust that is supposed to filter out all the soot and everything. Gives you worse fuel mileage. I digress. DEF is what a lot of people call it. Diesel exhaust fluid. Okay, now that basically is a fluid that squirts on your DPF. Okay, and all you need to know basically is you're going to have a second gauge that says DEF fuel or whatever, and you just keep it topped off. Most trucks you usually got to top it off every 2 times your fuel, but after you get used to the truck, you'll figure it out. Got another video on it. Let's do some federal acronyms here. FMCSA, Federal Motor Carriers Safety Administration. I don't need to go into this too much. You just need to know what that stands for. It's basically a bunch of bureaucrats saying how we should do our jobs. It's never been in a truck before. I digress. DOT, Department of Transportation. Okay, this is a common one. There's not much to explain about it. It's just, when an officer is DOT certified, that means they're certified to check commercial trucks, their safety, and it's just a real umbrella term for any officer or whatever who has authority. All right, IFTA, International Fuel Tax. I don't know what the A stands for, but basically what it means is in your permit book you need to have IFTA for that year, and that says that your company paid all your taxes, for proper taxes on your fuel for the year and everything. Definitely need it. They'll always ask for whenever you're in a weigh station. EOBR. Basically, you all know what this is. Almost everybody needs one. Electronic onboard recorder. Basically, it's also called e-logs or AOBR or something of that nature. Self-explanatory. I don't need to go in there. And CMV, commercial vehicle. That's it. I mean, simple as that. LTL. I mentioned this earlier. LTL. What does that mean? Less than a truckload. Now, generally, LTL refers to anybody pulling double trailers, because a lot of times those guys have 20 or so deliveries and pickups in a short amount of time, and they don't have the whole truck loaded at once and unloaded at once, and that's why it's called less than a truckload. And commonly you'll have to unload your trailer and everything when you do that. And so moving on to more mechanical terms, we got EGR, exhaust gas recirculation. Now, I'm not going to go into this too much. It's basically just like DPF. You know, it's a little hose that push your exhaust back into your intake and reduces emissions, supposed to, and just causes a lot of headaches. So if you ever get a check engine code that says EGR, you kind of have an idea what it is. Now, PSI, pounds per square inch. This is just a common term to measure your tire pressure and everything. I know my friends over in Europe use, I don't know, whatever they use over there in metric land. So let's see, moving on. BOL, bill of lading. Now, I didn't know what this meant at first, and it kind of got me in trouble here. That basically means it's a sheet of paper that you get every time you load. You get one, and then you have to get it signed by the customer every time you unload, and that's proof, and you get it back and you give them a copy. That's basically a receipt. Now, it's proof that you delivered that load, so you must hold on to that. Keep them clean. Keep them in a little clipboard box or something like that, where your rabbit's not going to eat them or whatever. It's not going to blow out the window. I've heard horror stories. And then customers try not to pay for the product that you deliver because you don't have your BOL anymore. And they will try and get away with that. Trust me. PM, this basically just means preventative maintenance. for when you're getting your truck worked on and everything. Self-explanatory. It's a oil change, and there's different levels where you might get your air dryer changed or air filters or whatever. There's different levels to it. Moving on, APU, auxiliary power unit. It's basically like a small generator that uses a lot of times, sometimes they're battery powered, but most of the time the good ones, they use your diesel automatically from your tank, and you run it when you're not moving, so you don't have to run the engine using over a gallon an hour. The APU uses about a gallon every 10 to 12 hours. Provides you with heat, electricity, air conditioning, and keeps your batteries charged up, keeps your coolant warm. They're great. Use them, don't idle. Use them every time you're parked, and they just work great. Hey, if you got two companies that you want to work for that look pretty similar, but one has diesel powered APUs, go with that. You don't want to be idling your truck all the time, and you can't be doing it in New York, Pennsylvania, California, all these hippie states. And the last one, not the most important, not the least, somewhere in the middle, GVWR. Now, what the hell could that stand for? It stands for Gross Vehicle Weight Rate. Now, it sounds real complicated, but basically it just means how much weight can your truck haul, including the weight of the truck, trailer, and payload, and everything. So if common gross weight is 80,000 pounds, is usually for combination truck and trailer and everything. That's very common. You go up into the northwest, it's 107,000 because they got these crazy double A trains and everything, but commonly it's 80,000 pounds. So check the side of your truck. It says GVWR 80,000. Make sure you don't weigh more than that ever. Unless I have exemptions in certain states on my permit. But you'll have to check out your permit, read your IFTA, make sure you have your insurance card in your permit book and all that, and check your gross vehicle weight rate in each state. If you don't have like a standard truck, I have a spread axle, so a lot of states they'll let me do 86,000. I think I did another video on this, but I'll just touch up on that. So on a spread axle, you could put 40,000 pounds on there, not 34, like a lot of people think. You could put 40,000 pounds on a spread axle. Now, that doesn't mean you could always put 40,000. It means the reason, because they're 10 feet apart, they're classified as two single axles. Now, a tandem axle, as most of you guys know, you could put 34,000 on. But with them, a spread axle, with them being 10 foot apart, they're classified as two singles. You could put 20,000 on a single, 20,000 and 20,000. So whenever you're real heavy on your trailer with a spread axle, make sure they're pretty much even, because a lot of times you could put 40,000 on there and one axle will be 1,000 pounds heavier than the other one. You'll have to adjust the airbags. Don't do that. Talk to the mechanic about doing that and everything. But yeah, calibrate your spread axle, check it. And that's common acronyms. Matt with Tips for Truckers. Have a great day.